Did you know that planting a tree is one of the easiest and most powerful things you can do to have a positive impact on the environment?
That's right. Trees clean the air, they prevent rainwater runoff, and they can even save your home's energy bill. If you're looking to plant a tree maybe coming up for Arbor Day, which is, by the way, tomorrow, you might be wondering, where do I start? Well, garden guy Dale Kay joins us live. He's from St. Louis Park with some simple tips for success. And there's going to be a tree planted where you're standing.
Exactly, and you mentioned all those great benefits about planting trees and what they do for us, and it gets a lot more local than that because they do also really improve our neighborhoods. And being on this busy street, we're on Minnetonka Boulevard in St. Louis Park, as you mentioned, if you want to come say hi. But it's a quite busy street. There's aircraft noise going over the top of us. So trees will actually help reduce noise pollution as well. You mentioned saving money. They'll shade, and also in the winter, if you've got evergreens, it'll save you money on your heating bill as well. But they also just look absolutely marvelous too. And you'll actually be leaving a legacy, whether it's for your children at a family home or even for the next owner. Trees will last usually a lifetime. And this little birch tree that we're planting this morning will look absolutely lovely right next to some of these beautiful tall spruces that we have nearby. It'll give it a very kind of woodsy look in front of this cute little cottage that we're in front of this morning. So lots and lots of benefits, and of course Arbor Day coming up tomorrow. So what do you need to get started? Well, of course you need the tree first. So do your research, do your homework on what trees will work best in your area and for your soil type. There's all sorts of resources, whether you go to your favorite local garden shop or go online, you can go ahead and do that. I actually prefer to plant smaller trees rather than those ones in the big burlap sacks. The reason being is transplanting shock tends to be a lot less on smaller trees than they are on some of those bigger ones. So planting small, and also there's a cost saving there too. And speaking of cost saving, you don't have to spend a lot of money. I found this little Norway spruce at a shop. Cheap as chips, it was about $2.49. So if you want to get the kids excited about planting a tree, you can go ahead and do that. Now, as far as planting the tree, quite simple. You don't need a horticultural degree to do it. All you need is basically some sort of a digging shovel. I recommend a long handle. But if you want to use a plastic spoon, well, you do you, but it's going to take you a little longer. So a good digging shovel with a pointed end will really help you dig your hole. And then as far as soil goes, I have two amendments here. I have compost, and then I also have peat moss, and I'm going to mix that with the original soil. This is the soil that just came out of the ground. I don't want to over amend the soil because no matter how poor this original soil is, that is what the tree eventually has to root into. So you don't want to make the bed too comfy for the tree because it tends to not root out into that original soil. So I've got my hole dug, and as you can see, it's quite a bit wider than the circumference of the original container. And that is key. And also I have it sit, it's a little bit hard to see from that angle, but it's actually sitting up a couple of inches above grade. That's important because you want water to run off the tree. There'll be a little bit of settling. You don't want to have kind of the tree sitting in a little bit of a hole because water will get in there, and then new trees tend to drown a little bit. Make sure you recycle the pot. That's also a good idea. This would make a great little vessel for planting some potatoes, some seed potatoes actually, so we'll give that a whirl. What I like to do also for young trees, and if you plant trees when they don't have any leaves on them at all when they're dormant, that's ideal because they don't even know they're being transplanted. This birch is just starting to leaf out, so you want to be careful of transplanting shock. So I'm going to do two things when planting in season. I'm going to rub some micro-rhizine around the roots. That's kind of like a good little, stimulates all the good microbes in the soil. It's almost like a really nice back scratch. You know, when you get a good back scratch and you get kind of like goosebumps and all warm and fuzzy, that's exactly what this does. So I'm going to just give that a little rub around those nice white roots, and that'll really kind of activate the soil. And then of course we're going to amend the original soil, and this doesn't have to be too scientific or too complicated. A little bit of peat moss, a little bit of compost. You could even use some manure. And then of course we're going to backfill that into the hole. I'm actually going to kind of pack it in quite tight around all the sides. And then I'm also going to water the tree really, really well, almost like you're making a mud pie initially, and then you can just kind of put some wood mulch. I'm going to put this nice pine bark wood mulch around the base of the tree. That'll kind of look nice for the birch and the pines. It'll kind of give it that woodsy look, but that'll also help retain moisture. And then keep an eye on your tree from there on. Don't water it too much. Have fun with Arbor Day tomorrow. Back to you.
Yeah. Did you tell us what kind of tree that is that you're planting?
It's a white spire birch. It's multi-stemmed, or what we call clumped.
Sounds fancy.
Okay.
Dale, I'm going to see that little tree again, that really little one that you held up.
I think that's just a branch. Is that just a branch?
Isn't that just a little darling? It's so wee and tiny.
Okay, he has an attachment to that. That's
Let's
fine.
leave those two be.
Go plant it somewhere, Dale.
Okay, get a room. Thanks, Dale.
He just loves trees.
He's going green.
He certainly
He's
is.
doing it.
Oh, it's cool though. I have a oh gosh, what is it now? A crabapple in my front.
Yep.
Where we.
So pretty.
Oh, I know. I love it. It's going to be blooming soon, and we planted that many years ago. And it's just fun to watch them, finally become mature.